Hi, this is Walt Mossberg from the Wall Street Journal, and this is an iPad. No, it's not the familiar iPad you've been used to, the one that sold 100 million units in 2.5 years. It's an all-new, much smaller, much lighter, much thinner version of the iPad called the iPad Mini. And Apple is releasing it on Friday at a base price of $329. Now, the iPad Mini is way lighter and way thinner and smaller than the regular iPad. It's meant, unlike the regular iPad, to be easily used in one hand. You could see that I was able to pick it up with just a few fingers. It is also meant to go more easily into a large pocket or a purse without weighing you down. And Apple has also done something really interesting here when you compare this new iPad Mini to the 7-inch tablets on the market, the leading ones like the Google Nexus 7 and the Kindle HD Fire 7. What it has managed to do is to make this new iPad Mini thinner and lighter than those competing tablets, and yet squeeze in a bigger screen, a 7.9-inch screen instead of a 7-inch screen, which gives you about 35% more display area for reading web pages or books or doing whatever else you might want to do on the iPad. It's also important to note that although this is a physically reduced iPad, it isn't a functionally reduced iPad. It has all the functions of the big iPad, including optional cellular data and rear cameras, and it runs all of the apps that are available for the bigger iPad. That includes the 275,000 apps that are specifically made for the iPad, and the rest of the 700,000 apps in Apple's App Store that are also viewable on the iPhone. So it sounds great, but it does have some downsides. One is $329 entry price. The other small tablets, despite the fact that they are not as thin and light and don't have as big a screen, sell for a lot less, around $200. And if you're on a budget, that's something you'll have to take into account. Another issue here is screen resolution. Apple has been the champion of really high resolution screens. They even invented this marketing term, Retina display, to describe the super high-res screens on the iPhone and on the big iPad and some of their newer Macintosh laptops. But this iPad Mini goes back in time to a screen resolution that was present on the iPad 2, the 2-year-old model that's still on the market at $399. It's not that it's difficult to look at or doesn't measure up. Videos look good. I was able to do everything I do on my regular iPad, books, web pages, emails, and did not have a feeling that I was looking at something crude, but it still is a resolution that is clearly inferior to what you might be used to on the big iPad. And in fact, it's a lower resolution than the Nexus and Fire 7-inch tablets. And it's a low enough resolution that this iPad Mini cannot play true HD video. Apple insists that it isn't an SD tablet, that it has some technology that it uses to scale the video in a way that it's better than SD, but it is not true full HD. But beyond those downsides, I found in my test that this iPad Mini was really a very good solution for people who love the iPad, either because they have one or they love it and want one, but were deterred by the size. The The big iPad, while it certainly is much lighter than a laptop, can be tiring to hold. You really have to use two hands, and it can be tiring to hold if you're spending hours reading a book or going over reports or emails or whatever. After a while, it can be tiring to hold. That's the sort of thing this iPad mini is meant to resolve. And in my test, I thought it did resolve it. I really had no complaints, major ones at least. The battery life in my harsh battery test was excellent. It was better than the 10 hours Apple claims. It was about 10 and a half hours. The cameras, both front and rear, worked very well. I was able to conduct some video chats, and the videos and photos I took with the rear camera came out well. It's fast, it's fluid. Every app I tried worked. I would say my only complaints in my tests were that it's a tad too wide to go into most of the pockets I tried it in. Not all. It went into one of the inside pockets on a sport coat, but not some others. And if you hold it in portrait mode, which I think on this particular iPad is what you will be more likely to do than on the original, the keyboard is a little cramped because the width is a couple of inches less. If you hold it in landscape mode, the keyboard I thought was fine. But all in all, if you are somebody who wants or has wanted an iPad that is smaller, that is easier to use in one hand, that fits better in your purse or in a large pocket, I think Apple has pulled it off with the iPad mini. This is Walt Mossberg, and I'll see you next week.